Hello friends, my name is Steve and this is Steve Talks Books. Thank you for coming by and watching my weekly update. It's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, what I won't get to, and everything else in between. If you'd like to connect with me, the best place is on our forum at pagechewing.com. It's where we organize all these different group reads, have fun discussions. There's blogs, you can post your videos there. We have different forums for different series, so it's a good place to catch me. I can also be found on Vero, which is my platform, like my catch-all platform. It doesn't have an ad or algorithm. It doesn't have any ads or algorithms. I just find it a little bit more relaxing, so I use that. I'm at that one MFer. That's another place you can catch me. Or also I use Twitter at Steve Talks Books, and that is primarily book focused. On Vero I post my bike rides, my dogs, where I'm going, what I'm eating, what I'm watching, all the stuff nobody really cares about. But I post it there because it's fun and that sweet, sweet dopamine. So let's start off with what I've been reading. This week we were on the road. This week we went to Las Vegas for a few days and we did drive. So it's about an 8.5, 9-hour drive. So I didn't have a whole lot of time when we were there. We were busy, so I didn't get a whole lot of reading in this week. I did put a little bit more of a dent into The Tower of Living and Dying by Anna Smith Spark, the second book in the Empires of Dust series. And this is the kind of book that I really have to take my time with. So I put a lot more time into it because I'm going slower than I normally would read. It almost reminds me of reading someone like Baker or Erickson because it does take a little bit of time to kind of get the groove of it. And it does switch perspectives. It goes from first person, third person to omniscient. So it does go back and forth. So for me anyway, I have to take my time, just kind of absorb it. It's not a book I can read very fast because I want to feel like I get the impact of it. So I didn't make a whole lot of progress in that book this week. So next week I will still be reading The Tower of Living and Dying. I hope to finish that early in the week so I can get into Watchmen. We are having a discussion for Watchmen next week, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that one. It should be a fun time, but it's a graphic novel, and the time investment for graphic novels is a lot lower than the time investment for something like a thick, dense fantasy book. So I think it'll be fun to mix it up a little bit, to kind of, like a change of pace to kind of mix things up. So on the channel this week, I did post a short review for Leviathan Wakes. We did have the full-blown spoiler discussion, so I didn't have a whole lot more to say about it. I thought I could sum up my thoughts in a 60-second short, and we do, like I said, we do have the spoiler-filled discussion. So I didn't do a normal video. What I'm thinking about doing is, we have been talking about reviews lately. People watching, kind of a back and forth about reviews and what different people expect or what different people want. So I'm still going to do the reviews, the longer reviews for most books, if I feel like I can make it worthwhile, if I feel like I can sink my teeth into it. I will still be doing the same style, but I'll also be doing a short. So on the same day, and I kind of got the idea from a cigar reviewer on YouTube called Should I Smoke This? He does cigar reviews, and he does a 60-second review and a full review. I thought I could just do both because I'm going to be kind of in the mindset. So I'll have a longer review and a shorter review. Both will be spoiler free, and then we do have the spoiler filled discussion for Empires of Dust coming up. So for most of them, I'll have the long and short review, or some I may just do the short review, but we'll see how that goes. Kind of how things play out with everything, but something I'm going to try and see how it goes and see if people dig it. So also this week, I did post the part 1 spoiler-filled discussion for the Prince of Nothing, book 1, The Darkness That Comes Before. We had recorded that a few weeks ago, but we had the podcast version, so I posted the audio on YouTube. I thought about posting the video on YouTube, but none of us that participated in it had expected it to ever be a video meetup. So I just posted the audio. I think we are planning on having a live stream at the end with Daniel and Katerina. So that'll be coming later when we get closer to the end. I'll have more details on that once we get all that figured out. For the Friday conversation, there was a little bit there was a lot of back and forth, and it made it a little bit worse because I was on the road for most of the week, but we had planned to have Steven Erickson on. Unfortunately, there's a scheduling conflict. We had to reschedule Steven Erickson. We did reschedule that for September 2nd. So thankfully, he was willing to reschedule. We got all that rescheduled and figured out. So I thought maybe I'll just take the week off. And then I thought, well, I like having these conversations. So let's see what I can put together. So we did have another lineup ready to go with Dirk Ashton, Crystal Matar, Beth Tabler, and Mahir from Fantasy Book Critic. Dirk unfortunately there was some confusion over the times, and he had other commitments, so he couldn't make it. But thankfully, Justin T. Call came on really short notice to come and hang out and discuss his books and just kind of shoot the breeze with us. We are going to have Dirk in a few weeks. I think we're planning another day, so I'll have Mr. Ashton come by hopefully soon. That'll be a good time. So yeah, it was a week of moving things around and trying to figure things out. Thankfully, Mahir and Beth were both helping with that whole process, getting things figured out. So thanks to them for helping me out with that. It was just a last minute thing that we had to figure out, but it all worked out really well. It was nice to come home and to do the Friday conversation because it's a relaxing thing for me. So it was a good time. Also, this week, I will be posting the part 2 discussion for The Darkness That Comes Before, probably on Friday. I think I'll release them every Friday. I'll also have a Court of Broken Knives review this week. Have a long and short review for that. I'll be doing the booktube kindness tag, the booktube kindness shout out tag, that our friends Dave and Olive created over at Book Blather. So I will be doing that tag. I don't do tags very often, and not because I don't enjoy them. I think they're fun. Sometimes I had a big list of tags I had to do, and it just got a little bit overwhelming. And I just thought I'll take a break from tags, and then I never did one. But I think this one's important, and the BookTube Kindness tag I think is a good one because it spreads positivity, and it's good to recognize people for things they do and for the time they spend and all the positivity they spread and the support they provide in the community. So I will be doing that tag on Tuesday for Tag Tuesday. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that one. And also the Friday conversation will be with Alan Baxter. That'll be on Friday. He has a new book coming, so we're going to pick his brain on that and hear more about it. Then on Saturday, we have the Watchmen discussion. I believe that is at 4 p.m. Eastern. So hope you can come by and join us for that. If you've read it or if you're going to read it, it will be spoiler filled. Also this week, I did not record another short story for Short Story Saturday. It's been kind of a crazy week, and I just wasn't in the right space for it. So lots of stuff going on. The whole Las Vegas trip, we weren't even sure if we were going to make it because we had an illness in the family and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to go. It was a last minute thing. It's just been a crazy week, and I just didn't get to the short story this week. But hopefully that'll continue. Next Saturday, I'll have a short story next Saturday for you. Fingers crossed. We'll see how it works out. Just want to mention a couple of upcoming group reads. We do have V for Vendetta, another discussion for V for Vendetta. Also, I will be starting the Dandelion Dynasty, so I'm planning on a meetup October 1st or 2nd. It'll be either the morning of October 2nd or sometime in the afternoon of October 1st. But that is, I'm going to go ahead and set a time, and then whoever wants to join me can join me. And if not, then it'll just be me. So we'll see how that goes. Also, the Negative Space meetup we've been discussing, we are closer to having a day and a time for that. So we'll see how that works out. But those are just a couple of group reads we have coming up. And all these can be found on the forum if you're interested. We do all the planning and organizing there, just in one place. That way it's easier for me to keep up. So like I mentioned, I was in Las Vegas this week. It was really hot. I knew it would be hot, but it was super hot, and there was a ton of people there. So it's like this big mass of humanity just moving everywhere. And, just we were, like I mentioned, we weren't sure if we were going to go. It was kind of a last minute thing. We did have fun. We did go to a couple of the Gordon Ramsay's restaurants. We did have the tasting menu. There's a different, like a 5-course meal. We tried that and had the wine pairing. And, the kids were really excited to go to, Gordon Ramsay's restaurants because, cool. So we went in and checked out Gordon Ramsay's steak, and we went to, the next day we went to the pub and grill. So that, just a good time. I ate way too much. My eating habits went out the window, and it's just it was glorious, but I did not feel good after after that. So I'm trying to get back into eating good again, and just being good, because it's when you travel, it's like, why not? When am I going to be here again? So you kind of let loose a little bit, and then you kind of have to come back to earth. So on the way there, we did pass the meteor crater. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with that. I believe it's in Arizona, and it's just basically like a huge crater that a meteor made. And a long time ago, I don't know how long ago it was. I was a teenager. My dad and I were coming back from the Grand Canyon, and we stopped at the meteor crater. I remembered it being just like, you pulled up to it, you got out, you looked at it. It's like, well, it's a big crater. And we actually walked around it. I think it's like a 3-mile hike, and we just walked around it. So I thought, oh, this might be fun to check out. So on the way there, we kind of took a little detour, went to this meteor crater, pulled up, and it's like this big, it's a huge thing now. Before, you just kind of pulled up and it was there. And now it was like a welcome center, and there was like a museum. And so I thought, well, we'll go check it out. We weren't going to stay all day. We had reservations. We had other things. So we couldn't spend all day there. It was just more of a, hey, let's stop really quick and look at it and say, oh, cool, and then leave. And so we got out, and when we walked in, it's like this, there was a fee to see it now. And I thought, well, it can't be too bad. We don't want a tour. We just want to go look at it and say, wow, cool. And okay, let's go. So we got out, and the charge for us to get in was like $100 to go see this meteor crater. It's like, I'm good. Because it's like, I wanted to see it. I wanted the kids to see it, but it's kind of like, we don't have a whole lot of time. I just have like 20 minutes to check this out. We took a detour. We were just going to look at it and then leave. So, but it did make me think about roadside attractions. For those of you who have been on road trips, my question for you this week is, what's your favorite roadside attraction? It can be like a weird thing. It can be whatever, what's been your favorite roadside attraction that you really enjoyed, you really remembered? I think when I was a kid, the Cadillacs, I forget who buried them there in the ground. I think it's in Texas somewhere. I think the Cadillacs that were buried in the ground. I think it's pretty neat. It's stuff that you remember. It can be from your childhood or from recently. Just something that, a roadside attraction that really stuck with you, and why it stuck with you. Also, we had a lot of time to talk on the road trip when we were driving, and we were discussing which season of Stranger Things was our favorite. And, we kind of went back and forth discussing it, and we were thinking what season's our favorite. And I noticed that most of the time, especially for a TV series, that most people say the first season is the best. And that's true for movies, or, movies that have multiples in the franchise, or books. A lot of the time, people say it's the first entry in a series or the first season that's their favorite. And I started to wonder why that is. Because if the first season is the best one, you would think that the creators would get better at storytelling and better at putting their story together as the series went on. You would think that the last season would be the best. Ending it and closing out a story is tough, but you would think the longer you go, the better it gets. So have you all noticed that too? Just think about a few TV series or two that you've watched, and think, what was your favorite season? Is it season 1? I wonder why that is. I wonder why season 1 or book 1 or movie 1 is usually our favorite. Is that because that was the introduction to the series? That was us meeting the characters in the world, or is it because it's like a nostalgia thing? Let me know down below if that's true for you, if you enjoy the first entry in a series or the first season, and why you think that may be. Why you think maybe it's just me. So if it is, let me know. And speaking of a series that ended, Better Call Saul ended last week, and I gotta say, I was on on the bandwagon of Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad. They just had to nail the landing. And I didn't dislike the end. I get where they were going, but the last few episodes I felt like it really like took its like too much time, and the time it spent, and I won't give any spoilers, but the time it spent on certain storylines that ultimately just didn't deliver. And the end, I get the parallels and the things, but I think the choices they made were really strange to me. I kind of surprised. I'm kind of disappointed because there's a lot of questions I have about the end and some plot threads that they kind of left hanging. And while I think Better Call Saul is just brilliant, the series is great, I did not enjoy the last 3 to 4 episodes very much. They're okay. They were still good. They're better than 95% of whatever else is on TV, but it wasn't up to that level. And that's really tough because when you have a series like that sets the bar so high, not only Better Call Saul, but also Breaking Bad. I mean, you have these two series that set the bar really high. So it's tough because you have to maintain that standard, and it's tough to end a series. And I get where they were going. I still think it's a wonderful series that everyone should watch, but I don't know, I wasn't too crazy about the end. I won't spoil anything. I think I may start like a spoiler thread or something on the forum. So I don't want to spoil anyone on the series, but I have some questions about some of the storylines they left hanging. So I don't know. Let me know if you enjoyed Better Call Saul. If you enjoyed the finale, please leave it spoiler free. We don't want to ruin anyone's experience, especially for a series like this that builds to builds to this ending. So don't spoil it, but just let me know if you enjoyed it or if you didn't. Also, let me know, do you prefer Breaking Bad or do you prefer Better Call Saul? For me, Breaking Bad is one of the best finales. I mean, it was fitting. It was so well done. It kept this steady pace throughout the last season. I mean, from episode 1 to the last episode, it kept the pace. It didn't slow down. There's one episode called Fly. I'm not sure if those of you who have watched the series, if you already know what I'm talking about. That one episode was like I forget what they call it. It's an episode where they have to they have to work on a very limited budget with like one set piece, and it's very straightforward. That episode was like my least favorite on my first watch, and then I've really come to enjoy it over the years and on rewatches. So that episode I think is a low point for a lot of people, but I've come to really enjoy it, and I think it maintains that pace. I think Better Call Saul just didn't maintain it as well, and just didn't punch that landing, didn't quite punch that ticket. Also, this weekend I think it's the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, I believe. So let me know if you'll be watching that. I plan to watch just because I'm curious. I don't have a whole lot of expectations for it. I'm not going in really excited. I'm really hopeful. We'll say that. I'm hopeful that it'll be good. So that was my week. How was your week? What are you up to this week? What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? I always love to hear from you. I always love the interaction, the back and forth. It's what makes all this a lot of fun. So let me know down below how you're doing, how your week was. What are you up to? Anything planned for this coming week? What are you enjoying? What aren't you enjoying? Let me know about roadside attractions, the first entry in a series, and also about Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Let me know what you prefer and if you enjoyed the finale for Better Call Saul. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's always great to talk to you. It's always great to see you. Really enjoy this. Like I said, I really enjoy the back and forth. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me. I really appreciate it. You can be doing anything else, and you're here listening to me ramble about books and other random stuff. So I appreciate it. And until next time, we will talk to you soon.